Chris, how are you?
I'm good, Dan. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I want to play something from Vlade Divac yesterday, and you tell me, what exactly is Vlade, as the Kings GM, saying about what they did and the culture of the Sacramento Kings. So here's a couple of clips from Vlade Divac.
I had a better deal 2 days ago.
Than what you got now?
Yep.
And then
You had a better offer for Cousins 2 days ago?
Talk to those agents. I don't want to go in details. I don't want to discuss about the process. It was a big process for us. They deserve better, and I'm in a position to try to make it right way. And I really believe this is the right way to do it. Change the culture and moving forward.
Okay, what was the deal, the better deal that he had 2 days prior?
Honestly, Dan, I have no idea, because nobody that I've talked to has suggested there was a better offer. What Vlade wanted was a deal with the Lakers that would send Brandon Ingram back to Sacramento. But the Lakers, from what I was told, were never willing to put Ingram into that deal. So I don't know what his better offer actually was. Moreover, it is, I was just, everything Sacramento does boggles my mind. It really does. Over the last year, they have rivaled the Knicks for the most dysfunctional franchise in the NBA on almost a daily basis. And for Vlade Divac to stand up there yesterday and in a press release suggest that culture matters and character matters, this is 3 weeks, Dan, after he basically pledged allegiance to DeMarcus Cousins in a very public way. Mm-hmm. Did he just discover that character matters on winning teams? Did he just realize that, hey, we need to get a real positive culture to be able to succeed in the NBA? They are the gang that can't shoot straight out there. They really are. And Vlade Divac continues to go out there and publicly stand in front of Vivek Ranadive. He's been suggesting for the last 24 hours that this was all him, that he decided now was the time to trade DeMarcus Cousins. That is completely false. That is completely a lie. This has been entirely Vivek Ranadive. He being Vlade Divac, has been trying to trade DeMarcus Cousins for at least 6 months, if not longer, and Vivek's been standing in the way. It was only because of the repeated acts of immaturity over the last month that Vivek finally got out of the way, and they're able to make this deal for DeMarcus Cousins.
What do you think about the Pelicans as they move forward with Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins?
It's a calculated risk on the part of the Pelicans, because if you're the GM, Del Demps, you probably know that if you don't make the playoffs, you're going to be out of a job. And if you're the head coach, Alvin Gentry, you know that if Del Demps is out of a job, chances are you're going to be out of a job. So the 2017 first-round pick is a risk. It could turn out to be a good player in what is a very good draft, but you don't have options here. You've got to try to pair Cousins and Anthony Davis together and see if you can find magic. I mean, look, on paper, Dan, Alvin Gentry coaching a plodding big man who won't run past half court half the time does not make a lot of sense. But what they can do is just hope that they strike lightning in a bottle, and these two guys, who are arguably the most talented players at their respective positions, can find a way to play well together, and everything will just click.
He's the former Celtics ball boy. He's Chris Mannix, who joins us on the program.
Wow, okay.
Well, I was going to lead into the Celtics here, and are they going to trade for Jimmy Butler? Right?
Because my ball boy experience will be able to lend something to that conversation.
Yes. The likelihood that the Celtics bring in Jimmy Butler is what?
This one's going to go all the way down to about 2:55 p.m. on Thursday, Dan, because the Bulls right now have to weigh a couple of things. Number one, they have to figure out if over the next 3 years, 2 years really, because that's how long Jimmy has left on his contract, a player option on that third year, are they going to be really competitive? Can they build around Jimmy over the next 2 years? Because that's a reason to keep him. Also, they have to decide if Jimmy and Fred Hoiberg can coexist. Fred Hoiberg was the hand-picked choice of Gar Forman and John Paxson. They didn't interview anybody else after they fired Tom Thibodeau, so they're not getting rid of Fred. They have to figure out if those two guys can coexist. And I don't think they're going to make a call on that until right up until the deadline, because they're going to see how deep Boston will go into that treasure trove of assets to get Butler. Now, I think Boston will throw that 2017 Nets pick into the pot there. I think they don't want to. They'd rather go 2018, but I think if they have to, they'll go 2017. The question for Boston, I think, will come down to will they put Jaylen Brown, their third overall pick, in that deal as well. They love Jaylen Brown in Boston. They think he has superstar written all over him. They don't want to deal Jaylen Brown. They'd probably prefer to throw Marcus Smart into that mix. But that's what it might come down to, Dan. Will they throw Jaylen Brown in, and will the Bulls accept an offer that doesn't include him?
Magic Johnson's role with the Lakers, what is going to change here, and when do you see change happening with the Lakers?
That's a dramatic pause.
Yeah, it is. Chris. And we lost him.
I blame Reebok Janajive.
I think Mannix's pronunciation game is spot on this morning.
Off the charts.
Yeah, we'll see if Mario can relocate Chris Mannix there. You know, that was good radio. If you're listening in your car and you heard him pause, you're thinking, oh, my God, there's something really going to happen with Magic Johnson. Yeah, Paul.
And you really nailed the Magic Johnson setup in question,
Yeah,
too.
I did.
Crush that.
Do we have Chris Mannix? Chris?
You do got me. You got me.
Okay. That was really, really dramatic pause on your part. So, Magic Johnson's role with the Lakers means what?
I wish I had something more prescient to tell you there, Dan, but the reality is it's not going to happen this year. It might not happen at the start of next year, and I think there's going to be a civil war within the Laker organization before Magic takes over at all. I don't think Jim Buss is going to willingly cede complete control to Magic Johnson, and I think you're going to see an all-out fight within the Lakers to do it. And you know what? I tend to agree with Jim Buss and with Mitch Kupchak if they fight for this team. What have we just seen in New York, Dan? You hand control to a basketball operations to a basketball novice, at least in that position, and you can't expect real results. The only way Magic Johnson is going to be successful is if he goes out and spends millions of dollars on the best staff humanly possible, exactly what Phil Jackson did not do in New York City. That's the only way. Putting Magic Johnson in a position of power there is not going to work unless you assemble the best basketball staff around him.
Do the Cavs or Warriors make a move this week?
Not this week. The Cavs and Warriors, neither one of these teams have assets to make a deal. They're trying, but nobody out there wants their stuff. They don't have draft picks to deal either. The only way the Cavs and Warriors get better before March 1st is at that buyout deadline. I think you're going to see a run of veterans. You might see Rajon Rondo. You might see Andrew Bogut. There could be a few players that could be impact off the bench guys for the Cavs and Warriors to fight over, and that's where it's going to be on LeBron. We've talked a lot, Dan, about LeBron's frustration with that Cavs front office, how he just doesn't feel like they're doing enough to upgrade that roster. If these guys break free, LeBron's going to have to put his best John Calipari hat on and recruit these guys because it's not going to be that easy. You know, these guys, say a Bogut breaks free, is he really going to want to go to the Cavaliers and play 10 or 15 minutes per game or go to another team where he can play 20 to 25 minutes and earn himself his next contract? So it's going to be difficult, but that's where the Cavs get better, where LeBron recruits guys to have them come play for Cleveland.
Chris, great stuff as always. Thanks for joining us.
Dan, there's a possibility that Ricky Rubio could wind up in New York, and if that happens, my life is made.
Will you share an apartment with Ricky Rubio if he does get traded to the Knicks?
I would happily sublet my apartment and then live at a hotel.
You'd live in a hostel. You'd live on the street.
Anywhere.
Yeah, for Ricky.
Anywhere.
So this would be Rubio for Derrick Rose?
There's not really legs to it quite yet, but the Bulls have been, the Wolves have been pretty clear that they want to hand the reins over to Chris Dunn eventually. Rubio's got 2 years left in his contract. Rose only one. That's the only way they would make this deal is if they feel they can just transition to Chris Dunn easily next year and clear Rose's number off the cap.
Can they send Rubio back to Spain?
I'd go with him, but I don't think that's the plan right now.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, Dan.
That's Chris Mannix from The Vertical. The Vertical Trade Deadline show Thursday, 2 to 4 Eastern on thevertical.com.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.